Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Peter Cusimano, and it is my pleasure to welcome you to Robert F. Hall's 2002 graduation ceremony. We apologize for the tables in the back. We decided to open up the partitions to allow for more seating. The theme for tonight's celebration is shoot for the moon. Even if you miss, you'll land among the stars. These are times when change and uncertainty make it difficult for all of us to focus on the future. The future often appears clouded and full of uncertainty, leading us to feel that much is out of our control. Decisions are made that we continually question and challenge. But when we look at the success that is expressed through these, our graduates, young adults now, who are your children and our students, we can't help but feel that miracles do happen. They are the seeds of the future who are beginning to blossom and flourish. This evening, we gather together to prepare for tomorrow in the name of our God. Please remain standing for the playing of O Canada.
Principal Galea, Vice Principals, teachers, ladies and gentlemen, and graduates. On behalf of the Director, Michael Bader, and my colleague, Associate Director, John Watts, and the Senior Administration of the Board, I bring greetings and congratulations to the graduates of Robert Hall Secondary School. All of us here tonight are here to honor these graduates on their academic achievement, and I am very pleased that you invited me here to be part of that celebration. Graduation from secondary school is one of the major milestones in life. Tonight, you have passed through this milestone, the next phase of your life. Your parents and teachers have taught you the Catholic Christian virtues of faith, hope, and charity. The Catholic school has taught the added attributes of goodness, discipline, and knowledge. All of these virtues are the hallmarks of the Catholic school tradition in Dufferin-Peel and in Ontario. As graduates of Robert Hall Catholic Secondary School and the Dufferin-Peel Catholic District School Board, you are challenged further tonight to develop those virtues that you have been taught and to practice these virtues every day in your life in your chosen path. It is our hope that you will do so with continued faith in the Catholic tradition and a continuing love for learning. I know that your parents are very proud of you tonight, and you should know that your teachers and all of us are proud of you as well. Thank you for inviting me, and may all of you have the success in your future that is rooted in the Catholic faith shared with your parents, teachers, and your colleagues at your school. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. I would now like to call upon Mr. Mike McPhee to bring salutations from the board.
Good evening, staff, students, all the families and the communities up from Caledon, administrative team. It's a wonderful occasion to be here this evening, and I guess as a parent of a child who's about to graduate from Notre Dame this year and another child who's about to graduate from university, I always think how special it was for me at each one of those occasions for my own children, and I know as I look at the parents in the back, how you must feel as you think of your youngsters moving on. The job of parenting and teaching is one that constantly puts incredible demands on all of us. There are times when we really aren't sure that our efforts will bear fruit, and the young men and women before us here tonight. However, take heart in this brief little story. Like any plant, the growth of the Chinese bamboo tree requires nurturing, water, fertile soil, sunshine. In its first year, you see absolutely no visible signs of growth or activity. In the second year, again, there's no growth above the soil. As you continue to love, nurture, and care for during the third and fourth years, still nothing appears beyond the soil. Your patience is tested, and we begin to wonder if our efforts, the caring, the watering, will ever be rewarded. However, finally, in the fifth year, behold, a miracle. We experience growth, and believe it or not, that plant grows 80 feet in 6 weeks. But let's think about that as parents. Does the bamboo really grow 80 feet in 6 weeks, or does it actually take 5 years for this sudden burst of activity? The bamboo, an analogy for our own experience with personal growth and change. Never easy, at times incredibly slow to show any progress, frustrating at times, and unrewarding occasionally. But in the end, is it ever worth it? If we had that patience and perseverance to maintain our care and concern over a long period of time. And that care and concern is critical in each one of these individuals in front of us tonight to acquire new skills and to develop to their full potential. I'd like also tonight to think of the partners in Catholic education, the pastors, the chaplains, the staff, the students, and the parents. And hopefully us at the board as well, working together as a team. The heart of the Catholic school for me has surely always been in the heart of the Catholic teacher, and these teachers we see to my right here tonight are great examples of that. They teach not only subject content, but moreover they infuse gospel values and Catholic practice at the same time. And that is a challenge as well. Pope John Paul II said at the Second Vatican Council, although the essential truths of our faith remain ever the same, they must be effectively clothed in and expressed in new words and new concepts if they are to touch the lives of contemporary young men and women today. When I graduated, times were different, a lot simpler. And in our difficult times, which you also had as a young man or young women, sometimes it was that faith and that nurturing by teachers, along with our parents, that got us through the challenges. To the parents in the room, you love your children unconditionally. And in spite of the bright futures ahead of them, they will always need that love and support. May your children have enough happiness to make them sweet, enough trials to make them strong, enough sorrow to keep them human, and enough hope to make them happy. God bless each and every one of you, and best wishes in whatever the future holds for you.
Thank you, Mr. McCready. At this point, I'd like to introduce our principal, Mr. Joel Gallia, to salute the graduates.
Honored platform guests, parents and guardians, Mrs. Hall, Robert Hall staff, boys and girls, special guests, and most importantly, 2002 graduating class. I asked my daughter a few days ago if she could help me out with this speech. She graduated last year, she's 19. What do you remember from your principal's speech? Dad, I'm not going to be very helpful at all. She says, because I was just too nervous. Because I was nervous that I was going to fall up the stairs. And more importantly, I was really nervous I might fall down the stairs, let alone what I had to do when I got on the stage. So I promise not to go on and on as long as you promise not to fall up or down the stairs. Deal? Commencement. I've always appreciated the choice of this word for the graduation ceremony. Here you are, busily reflecting on how far you've come, on all that you've accomplished, or at least endured, and the word commencement serves as a reminder that you're about to begin to use your education and the talents you've been developing. In the spirit of helping you commence with the next stage of your life, I, with plenty of gray hair and lots of experience, cannot bear to pass up this chance to give you just a little bit of advice. Try to always be in a good mood and always have something positive to say. Each morning, when you wake up, you have two choices. You can choose to be in a good mood, or you can choose to be in a bad mood. You can choose, please, 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 be in a good mood. Each time something bad happens, you can choose to be a victim, or you can choose to learn from it. Choose to learn from it, please. Every time someone comes to you complaining, you can choose to accept their complaining, or you can point out the positive side of life. Take the positive side of life. Life is all about choices. When you cut away all the junk, every situation is a choice. You choose how you react to situations. You choose how people will affect you and your mood. You choose to be in a good mood or a bad mood. More importantly, you also choose whether to let God in your life or not. The bottom line, it's your choice how to live life. make the right choices. And now the challenge. Most of you are sitting here and looking at your future, worried about success and achievement, and that's fine. But the key to doing your best work is to make the shift from what can I achieve to what can I contribute and how can I be of service to others. It doesn't matter whether in the end you and your work become viewed by others as great. It matters more that you have made a contribution to society and have served others from your heart. Jesus Christ did this, and Mother Teresa did this. Listen to the words of Mother Teresa and become a pencil in God's hand. And finally, if you choose this approach, do not be afraid to tell others and show that you are doing God's work by putting your faith into action. It is our hope that each graduate experience and share the meaning of Christ's words in all their future endeavors. Each graduate will receive a pen sometime today as a reminder that you are writing God's story. Make it a masterpiece. We at Robert Hall wish each graduate good health, happiness, and continued love and support of your family and friends. And God bless you, 10th anniversary graduating class of 2002.
Thank you, Mr. Gallagher. I've been asked this evening to share some thoughts with our graduates and offer some words of advice. Last night I decided to write some thoughts down, and I promised to be brief. I must start by saying how grateful I am for this opportunity to stand before you, and how proud I am to have known this graduating class. It has truly been a pleasure working with you over the last 4 years. I consider myself to be blessed with a profession where I can witness firsthand and be a part of your spiritual, intellectual, and social development. As graduates, you've not only been our students, but our friends and at times our teachers. As I am sure my colleagues will concede, we learn many valuable lessons from you as well. We witness and feel the work of Jesus through your interaction. When I first heard of the theme for this evening, shoot for the moon, even if you miss, you'll land among the stars, it dawned on me how truthful and appropriate this statement was for all of us here tonight. As with your experiences at Robert F. Hall over the last 4 years, your future will present itself with much happiness and success. However, there are many challenges to be faced. At times, the moon may appear quite far or even non-existent, and the stars won't seem to break your fall. Whatever you do, do not give up. Seek God's strength and wisdom. Draw from your many talents and abilities, and be determined to succeed. As I reflect on some of the challenges I've encountered over the years, I'm quite proud to say that I've never given up. In fact, I still expect my hair to grow back. Seriously though, I'm grateful that I responded the way I did when times were difficult, and I thank God for His continued wisdom, guidance, and love. Remember, everything usually works out in the end, provided that you are positive, determined, and have faith. With this, all obstacles can be overcome. Family and friends, I would like to take this opportunity or this moment to congratulate you on your success in raising and contributing to the personal growth of these wonderful people. My 3-year-old daughter started preschool this week. As my wife and I were sitting down writing her name on her knapsack, her shoes, and her juice container, it dawned on me how many more challenges we will be faced with as young parents of kids soon to enter their academic career. I only hope that my wife and I are as successful in nourishing those wonderful attributes exemplified by these fine young adults. To conclude, I shall leave you with a passage from the book of Proverbs, chapter 3, verses 13 to 16. Happy are those who find wisdom, and those who get understanding. For her income is better than silver, and her revenue better than gold. She is more precious than jewels, and nothing you desire can compare with her. Long life is in her right hand, and her left hand has riches and honor. I hope you take this advice to heart and enjoy the riches of your knowledge. Continue to nurture your desire to learn. God bless you, and thank you for the great memories and for teaching me. At this point, I'd like to call upon Mr. Michael Horton to salute the graduates on behalf of the staff of Robert F. Hall.
There are so many of you. Before I get into the address, I promise you it won't be more than 7 minutes, and it's 6.5. No, it's tight, and my daughter typed it. Let us go. A warm hello to parents, grandparents, legal guardians, colleagues, secretaries, custodians, and siblings of the graduates. With all due respect, I will not be addressing you this evening. I'm here to talk to my graduates. And I use the possessive pronoun my to signify the nature of the speech. Tonight I want to take a few minutes to articulate my most heartfelt ideas on education. At this point, I would like to begin my address. My dearest graduates, I want you to understand the profound humility I felt when I was asked to speak to you. I view this opportunity as a sacred time in which I must say something which hopefully speaks to you. But at the same time, and I mean this, it's what I feel about education. Early in Lord of the Rings, there was a celebration much like this. Each of you here is similar to Frodo and Bilbo. Like Bilbo, I mean this, don't laugh yet.
Clarissa Jewell. Jennifer Johnson. Joseph Carroll. Matthew Kavanaugh. Gregory Keenan. Nora Kelly. Nora will also receive the certificate of extending rank. Patrick Kerrigan. Sean Kershaw. Sean will also receive a certificate. Daryl Kumar. Allison Lagenza. Allison will also receive a certificate of extended rank. Nicole Lima. Patrick Lodeserto. Patrick will also receive a certificate of extended rank. Ashley Long. Ashley Lugano. Mandy McKay. Chris Amelidi. Natalie Marchioni. Valerie Milo. Valerie will also receive a certificate of extended rank. Tyler Murata. Nelia Martins.
Christopher Matus. I would like to call Eminem Mounsong to finish reading the rest of the graduates.
That's taping you, Benny.
Lindsay Strong.
Touch it.
Melissa Swinton.
Put your hands down.
Ines Tacone.
No, sweetheart, don't touch it. It's a big break. Just use your eyes.
Bo
With
Tate.
your eyes.
Amanda Tricoci. Daryl. Daryl.
Who's that pretty girl?
Diana Tweedy.
What's she doing?
Shane Vanderster. Andrew Van Segment. Sean Damian Wilmot. Michael Wilson. Nicholas Young. Nicholas is also a recipient of the extended mercy.
Are you upset
Lima
again?
Yusuf. Kelly Zachary. Adam Solante.
These puppies are nice.
Ladies and gentlemen, your 2002 graduating class.
At this point, I'd like to share a message with you as well. Excuse me. I have a graduation message from Keith Burley, a pre-med student at Northern Michigan University. It reads here, I'm sending congratulations and best wishes to my fellow graduates. Although time, distance, and the full schedule prevent me from physically being here, in my thoughts I'm sharing this evening with you. A special hello and thank you to you teachers, in particular remember Ms. Seeley, Mr. Andres, Ms. Nappage, and Mr. Yang. To all of you, have a wonderful evening. Each member of this graduating class has reached the milestone in his or her life of point at which seriousness, the joys, and perhaps the hardships of life are now very evident. I'd like to call upon Brian Butler to share his reflections.
Serious in his address. I would like to welcome you all here to the commencement ceremonies for Robert F. Hall's graduating class of 2002. Although I am primarily addressing the graduates, I would like to recognize family members, staff, and especially those who cannot be with us this evening. We, as graduates, are thankful for your important contribution to our lives thus far. Our 4 years of high school have brought us to this point. Some of us are completing OACs and look toward university, while others are in college or have joined the working world. In some ways, we are in a precarious position after finishing high school, because to many of us, our immediate future is still undetermined. We are at crossroads and looking for some guidance in which road to take. If we look back on high school, we can plainly see that certain goals were set before us. The main objective being finish high school and then decide how to live life. Many of us right now are struggling with our next step, whether we want to take time off before post-secondary education or what program we'd like to pursue. This is what had been plaguing me for, dare I say, the stressful weeks leading up to this day. I embraced the honor of speaking to you this evening, but I had no real message in which to convey. When asked about the progress of my address, I cleverly dodged the question by assuring everyone that I had the situation soundly in hand. Meanwhile, I had only composed something that would be considered articulate by the likes of Happy Gilmore. Needless to say, stress was starting to get the better of me, but my father gave me an article by Stuart McLean that helped put things in perspective. It is the story of John Goddard, who at the age of 15 decided to write a list of goals he would like to achieve over the course of his life. He was prompted to set out definitive goals after overhearing his parents' friend, Dr. Keller, yearn for an opportunity to be young again. The doctor had expressed regretful feelings of his life and felt that he should have done things differently. John was taken aback by the attitude of a 42-year-old man who had felt that life had passed him by. At age 15, John realized that he didn't want to live his life regretting the past. He wrote down 127 goals that he wanted to accomplish in his lifetime, from becoming an Eagle Scout, to traveling the Nile River by kayak, to even climbing the Matterhorn. And now at the age of 64, John Goddard has accomplished 108 of 127 goals. He is not a rich man, as his only source of income is his written accounts of his adventures, but he continues to strive towards completing his list. I thought this article was very appropriate because it addresses the challenges set before us. But I'd like to add a different dimension to what Stuart McLean has written. When we look back on high school, was there anything we regret? Perhaps it was not trying out for football for the fear of the grueling workouts set forth by Mr. D'Amico. Just lost my mind. Oh, dear. Some of us have donated our time to serving at the Good Shepherd Refuge. We went on a school trip to Nicaragua. Some of us chose to lead and take part in the student council in order to represent the voice of the students. Sorry, I got it. I'm really sorry. Okay. Some of us have donated our time to serving at the Good Shepherd Refuge or went on the school trip to Nicaragua. Some of us chose to lead and take part in the student council in order to represent the voice of the students. Others contributed by playing sports or by involving ourselves in our school musical or in various clubs. Who can forget the pride felt after watching the impressive performance of Godspell, or hearing about the senior band's first place finish in Montreal, or the girls' volleyball team's ROPSA champions? These are merely achievements of the challenging objectives set before us. Many of us do not receive such notoriety for our efforts, but I believe that the involvement in extracurricular activities and making connections with students and teachers helped us grow as people. The whole idea of setting goals and stopping at nothing to achieve them is an admirable aspiration. But the reality is that we often find ourselves in certain situations in which we have no control. Things just seem to happen and we are faced with whatever challenges that we have been given. Oftentimes we are not ready for these challenges and they interrupt our quest for achievement. We didn't ask to have our goals interrupted, but we must still have the strength to overcome these obstacles. If we spend our days narrowly striving towards these huge goals of establishing a career or traveling the world, we can miss the most important opportunities for growth. So yes, having some sort of direction is helpful in order to motivate one to achieve, but just as important, being able to recognize that growth will not only come out of creating direction, but reacting to the challenges of life. As we move on, it is important that we use our experiences from high school to achieve our own personal success. How will we go about planning our future? In high school, it was simple. The objectives were clearly laid out, and we were given time to complete them. Now we are left somewhat on our own. High school has presented many opportunities for us to gain experience in a variety of different situations. It is now up to us to set new goals. We must draw upon the framework that high school has given us and use it to create new memories that will define who we are. My fellow graduates, the onus is on us. Now, on our own, we must determine how we are going to achieve all that we strive toward. The story of John Goddard rings true for me as he personifies the notion of living life to the fullest. We must also remember that life is unpredictable. Drastic change can be instantaneous. When I look back on my journey to this point, I feel a fond longing for the past. I must stop and remind myself that the past will never change, nor will it be forgotten. Our experiences at Robert F. Hall will definitely play a role in how we shape our future. We must strive to succeed and meet our new challenges head on. We must enjoy our journey, because life is too short to dwell in the past.
There are many areas of scholarly achievement. Although every member of this graduating class has made contributions to Robert F. Hall over the years, there are some individual achievements that we would like to recognize this evening. I call upon Ms. Gravel to present the Visual Arts Award. The recipient is Dean Ross. Dean, unfortunately, was unable to attend this evening. I call upon Ms. Johnson to present the Dramatic Arts Award. The recipient is Richard Chan.
Considered a heavy hitter, but he chose a different profession. Tonight's award proves that he's a heavy hitter in another way, in his chosen vocation as a religion teacher. Mr. Gary Connolly. Mr. Gary Connolly is someone who cares deeply about his students and about the world in which we all live. He believes and teaches that transformation is possible. His prophetic style of teaching is about responsibility and about action. He challenges his students to question, to consider alternative visions, and to pursue the deeper truths of our world by refusing to accept the easy answers or the status quo. His teaching is rooted in the gospel of Jesus who announces that God's grace is for the here and the now. He believes that God's reign of justice and peace needs to be made real, concrete, and present through our efforts, our learning, and our growth. Gary Connolly is known to many of his colleagues in the school and throughout the board as Mr. Social Justice. He's respected for taking stands on important social issues. I got to know him 6 years ago through the North-South Awareness Program, which he started at the school. This exposure trip to Nicaragua allows young people to experience the Third World firsthand. Through it, Mr. Connolly has affected many lives, both here and afar. He has helped students see, hear, touch, taste, and know the world in a radically new way. With courage and care, he has helped them break down the first world walls of indifference and complacency that protect us from really understanding how most of the world, particularly the world of the poor, really lives. For all the years I've known him, Gary has been taking students to serve food each month at the Good Shepherd Refuge. He has always been at the forefront, battling for teachers' rights and human rights through our union, through personal sacrifice and individual action. Some of you will remember that he risked losing his job a few years back when he went on a hunger strike to take action against government cuts to social programs. Many of you don't know that a couple of years in a row he risked arrest at Fort Benning, Georgia, when he took part in a peaceful protest to close down the School of the Americas, an institution which still trains Latin American officers in the techniques of torture and assassination. Many of the graduates of that school have been linked to death squads, to the murder of thousands of civilians, and the notorious killings of such notable figures as Oscar Romero. Just last week I had a brief but meaningful discussion with Gary in our religion room. He said he'd hardly slept and he'd been up all that night considering the implications of a discussion that he'd had with students the day before about the pending war in Iraq. It was seriously troubling him. He felt that he had to do something about what was going on, try to make a difference. That in itself says much about Gary. Words are not enough. Teaching is more than just discussing important issues. He believes we have to make them personal. Do something. Teach by example. That's who he is. He will continue to stand up, speak out, and do what he can for peace and justice, for education, and for a better world. On behalf of all of us gathered here, Mr. Gary Connolly, thank you for being such an inspirational teacher.
At this point, I'd like to call upon Brenda Holtkamp for the commissioning ceremony for our graduates and the final blessing.
Robert and Paul Catholic Secondary School seeks to introduce youth to the gospel and to encourage them to model their lives on the life of Jesus. We have incorporated a commissioning service into tonight's graduation ceremony because graduation symbolizes the moment at which students cease to live the gospel merely within the confines of the school and are challenged to begin living it in the world at large. To be commissioned means to be sent forth. The young people who you see before you tonight are being sent forth. They are being sent forth far and beyond these walls to be God's love, God's presence in a world that is desperately crying out for love and reconciliation. I share with you this evening a reading from the prophet Isaiah. I, the Lord, have called you with righteous purpose and taken you by the hand. I have formed you and appointed you to be a light to all peoples, a beacon to the nations, to open eyes that are blind, to bring captives out of prison, out of the dungeons where they lie in darkness. I am the Lord, and that is my name. You are my witnesses. You are the servants whom I have chosen. The word of the Lord. I now invite the graduates to please stand. And I invite you to respond to each question with, I will. Will you be a light to the world, bringing God's love to the hundreds, even thousands of people whom you will meet along life's journey? Will you become aware of the marginalized in society, the poor, the oppressed, the lonely, working actively to create a world where justice reigns and people live in dignity? Will you commit yourselves to leading an ecologically sound life which respects the sacredness and fragility of the universe, heals its wounds, and preserves it for your children's children? Will you commit yourselves to continuing the lifelong journey that you have already begun, the journey of learning, of growing, and becoming the persons God calls you to be, the light of the world? And now invite the Robert F. Hall staff to please stand and extend your hands to offer a sign of blessing to our graduates. Today you begin your pilgrimage to life. Go gently and joyfully in the spirit of truth as a witness of God's love. May God watch over you, Jesus walk with you, and the Spirit give you courage. Go to all ends of the earth and give life. Go forth and become for God and in God an instrument of God's peace. And we make this prayer in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Please be seated.
At this time, I would like to take a moment to thank all those involved in the preparation and presentation of tonight's ceremony. A large number of the staff and students have worked for many months to create a memorable day for you, the graduates, including the morning mass, the lunch, and tonight's celebration. We thank them all, especially Mrs. Manichini and Ms. Walsh with the entire graduate. You are invited to a reception immediately following the conclusion of the ceremony. Please allow all the graduates to proceed on the hall before you exit. Thank you for your presence here tonight.